Ciao ragazzi. Hello guys, and welcome to a new Italian 101 video. The topic of this video is elementi basici di pronunciazione, or in English, basic pronunciation elements. Of course, in Italian. This is intended as the second video in a series about Italian pronunciation, so please watch it only if you have already watched the video about the alphabet. Okay? So we're going to start by reviewing something that we mentioned briefly in the previous video. The most important element in learning how to pronounce Italian is the vowels, right? We need to remember that they have sounds that are very different from the usual sounds of vowels in English, where actually they're similar in some cases, but it's just one sound and it's more open and more clear, okay? Vowels in Italian have only one sound, and that sound is more open and clearer than your typical English vowel sound. Okay, so let's review these that we already did in the previous video, the vowels in their order in Italian. Ah, ah. This is not A, right? Ah, and that the name is also its sound. Ah. That's the sound of this letter in Italian. Ah, like the A you will laugh, but more open, stronger. Ah. Prossima vocale, next vowel. E. E. Very important. English speakers confuse this one a lot, right? Because in English this is called E, right? Which is actually the name of another vowel in Italian. So remember, in Italian this is called E, and that's also the way you pronounce it. E. Like the E in bell, but more open, stronger. E. E. Prossima vocale, next vowel now. This one is called E. 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 A little bit like the double E in B, right? But stronger. E. Prossima vocale, O. O. Remember, this is not O, right? In English, you tend to pronounce this vowel like very closed, and you mix a couple sounds. O, right? In Italian, it's only one sound and very open. O. Like the O in York, right? Pronounce York, right? O, but stronger. O. O. E prossima ultima vocale, next and last vowel. U. U. Like the double O in cool, but more open. U. U. Those are the vowels. Queste sono le vocali. Let's do them one more time in order. A, E, I, O, U. Even if you feel awkward sitting alone with your phone or your computer, do it with me, please. It's important to practice this. A, E, I, O, U. Good. And now, after we learn the sounds of the vowels, we're practically golden. Because the cool thing is that those sounds never change in Italian. Okay? And they're all over the place. Italian has a lot of vowels all the time. So if you learn the vowel sounds, you can simply combine them with the consonants to make all the sounds of the Italian language. Okay? And the cool thing is that most of the consonants in Italian sound just like they do in English. So for example, B, it sounds just like in English. It sounds B. So let's do this. Let's take that B sound and combine it with the sounds of the vowels we just learned. Remember, the vowels are A, E, I, O, U. So we're just going to combine that with the sound B in order to produce these sounds, in order to read these 5 syllables. Please pronounce them with me. Ba, be, bi, bo, bu. Again, ba, be, bi, bo, bu. We're just combining the vowels with the consonants and we're reading in Italian. Let's do another one. T sounds, right? T sounds just like T, right? It sounds T. So let's pronounce this. Ta, te, ti, to, tu. Again, ta, te, ti, to, tu. One final series of 5 syllables with D, which sounds the, right? So let's do it. The, the, tho, thu. One last time. The, the, tho, thu. Okay? Quite simple, right? Just learn the vowels and then combine them with the consonants. Now, this is enough to read almost all of the Italian language, right? Italian is way easier to read than English. English is very, very hard to read if you think about it, to the point that many times if you see a word written somewhere and you don't know how it's pronounced, you have no idea how to make the sounds that correspond to those letters. Why? Because in English, many times the same combinations of letters produce different sounds depending on the word, right? That does not happen in Italian, ever. The vowels always have the same sound, and so do the consonants. So it's very easy to read. Just remember those vowel sounds. As always, however, rules have exceptions. But in Italian, those exceptions are very simple. So let's study them very quickly. Let's study the most important ones. Okay? This that we just did, combining the sound of the consonant with the sound of the vowel, can be done with all of them except for the 2 consonants that we learned 2 sounds for in the alphabet video. I hope you remember that there are 2 consonants that have 2 sounds, a soft one and a strong one. Right? I'm not going to pronounce this in English, I'm going to pronounce them in Italian. So the names of those consonants are C and G. Chi and G. Chi and G. Right? So how does this work? As we discussed in the previous video, C has 2 sounds. It has a soft sound, which goes ch, and it has a hard sound, which goes k. Soft, ch, hard, k. And the thing is that depending on the vowel that it is combined with, it does a different sound. If it's combined with A, O, or U, it does the hard sound, k. And if it is combined with E and I, it does the soft sound. Okay? So let's pronounce these 5 syllables. Following this rule, again, hard sound with A, O, and U, soft sound with E and I. So how do we read this in Italian? It goes like this. Ca, ce, ci, co, cu. Again, ca, ce, ci, co, cu. Okay? Very important to remember this because there's a lot of C's in Italian, right? Hard sound k with A, O, and U. Soft sound ch with E and I. One last time. Ca, ce, ci, co, cu. Some of you might be wondering, well, what happens if I want to do a hard C sound, a k, sound with E or with I? Well, there is something that we can do. What we do is insert an H or H between the consonant and the vowel, right? In the previous video I told you that H does not have a sound. That is true. H does not have a sound in Italian, but it does influence the sound of two consonants, of chi and g, right? So if we insert an H between consonant and vowel, in these two cases we have a hard sound. So look at these two syllables. They do not pronounce chi and chi, sorry, Spanish speakers. They're pronounced que, ki, right? If we did not have an H, they would go che, chi, right? But since there is an H, we do the hard sound of the C. That is the way that we do the hard sound of the C. Ke and ki. Again, very important because there's a lot of CH combinations in Italian, right? Ke and ki. Now this is for chi, right? What about G? Well, we said that it also has two sounds, hard and soft. Cool thing is that it follows exactly the same rule. G has a soft sound, which is like the J in jet, right? G, G. It also has a hard sound, right? G. Soft, G. Hard, G. Soft, G. Hard, G. And the rule is that it does the hard sound with A, O, and U, and the soft sound with E and I. If you recall, this is the same rule we learned for C. So let's read this. Remembering that we need to do the hard sound G with A, O, U, and the soft sound G with E and E. Okay, so it goes like this. Ga, J, G, Go, Gu. One more time. Ga, J, G, Go, Gu. One last time, guys. Pronounce them with me. Ga, J, G, Go, Gu. Okay? And again, you might be wondering, how do we do the hard G sound, the G, with the E and the I? Same thing that we did with C. We insert an H. So let's read these two final syllables. There you go. Ge, gi. Ge, gi. Okay? And that's it. Other than these two exceptions, and a couple more that I will tell you about later, but are a lot less important, that's the way you pronounce Italian. Okay? So I know that the first thing of the many things that freak you out when you try to learn a new foreign language is how to pronounce things. Well, in Italian, this is not going to be too much of a struggle because we're going to remember our vowels and we're going to remember the special rules for C and G. Okay? As practice, let us pronounce a few Italian names. Okay? First, let's pronounce some names that use C in all its different combinations. The first name, Carlo. Carlo. We said that C with A has its hard sound K, so Carlo. Second name, Spanish speakers will be tempted to pronounce this Cecilia, and so will be English speakers. That is very wrong. Remember that C has a soft sound ch, right? Not s, ch. And it does that soft sound ch with E and with I. So the way you pronounce this name in Italian is Cecilia. Cecilia. And it's actually an Italian name that is very, very common, Cecilia. Now the third name, again, C does the soft sound with I, and that sound is ch, so this sounds Ciro. Ciro. Prossimo nome, next name, hard sound of the C with O, so it goes Corrado. 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 Right? In Italian, you don't have that very strong R that you have in Spanish. You wouldn't say Corrado, you would say Corrado, right? It's a little softer. Next name, C has the hard sound with U, so it goes Curio. Curio. Prossimo nome, next name. Notice that it has a CHE, right? This is very important. You would not pronounce this Michele, or right? CHE sounds che in Italian. Michele, 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 not Michele, Michele, okay? And then the final name, CHI, again, it does the hard sound of the C, so Chiara. Chiara. Actually, Michele and Chiara are two of my Italian cousins. Well, Michele is my cousin, Chiara is his wife, right? So these are very, very common names in Italian. Let's pronounce these 7 names again. Carlo, Cecilia, Ciro, Corrado, Curio, Michele, Chiara. Okay? Now let's do the same thing with some Italian names that have G's in them. The first one, Gabino. Right? G has the hard sound with a, Gabino. Secondo nome, second name, we have to remember that with the G has its soft sound, G, right? So you don't read that gemma, you read it Gemma. 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 Terzo nome, third name, Gina. Gina. Not Hina, not Gina, right? With I, G again has its soft sound, G, so Gina. Quarto nome, fourth name, Goffredo. Goffredo. G has the hard sound with O. Fifth name, Guido, not Guido, okay? Guido. Guido. Right? G has the hard sound with U, Guido, right? And very important for the Spanish speakers, right? This UI and UE combinations, they don't do the same thing that they do in Spanish, right? So don't be tempted to pronounce this in Spanish. You have to pronounce all the vowels very open in Italian. So not Guido, Guido, Guido. Very popular Italian name, Guido. Okay? Sesto nome, sixth name, Gello. Gello, right? GH makes the hard G sound with E, so Gello. E l'ultimo nome, the last name, Gita. Gita. GHI makes the hard G sound, Gita. Okay? Let's pronounce these last 7 names one more time. Gabino, Gemma, Gina, Goffredo, Guido, Gello, Gita. Okay? Grazie ragazzi. Thank you guys. Alla prossima. Until next time.